how you guys do circles in Monroe, but
I failed geometry.
it's a bit more like a baked bean.
I failed geometry, that's why.
Well, then you should get into acting, because that's how I got into acting. Couldn't figure out what else to do in life, so I thought, well, I'm just going to keep dressing up and playing make-believe, and then now I get paid for it, so it kind of worked out quite well.
Oh, my job, sure.
Yeah. Huh?
Play make-believe and dress up? Man, that sounds like the best job ever.
Yeah, but what about hour 15 on the job?
Yeah, it's
16
pretty
hour
crazy.
days job.
It is long hours and stuff. Do you guys want to come in? Come in and sit down. Move out, guys, so we can fit everyone in. Here you go, you can come around here a bit more. Come on, I won't bite. Not yet. Until after a few boxes, then I might. Well, I'm going to play Tiana, so what do you expect? Cool. So we all local? Nice. So you must the jet lag must be terrible. All that
We came
travel.
all the way down from Detroit.
Oh my gosh, how far is that?
About 40 minutes.
Oh, are you okay?
Oh, yeah.
All right, good.
I took it now.
I like that. You've got your designated driver.
Have fun.
Beautiful. Bye.
See you next
I
hour.
actually live in Los Angeles now, so I moved back to LA with my beautiful husband because he's actually from Minnesota. And I moved to LA to shoot season 2. Well, I moved there because I thought Jim Henson's Creature Shop Challenge was going to get picked up. And we just found out that Sci-Fi is not actually picking it up, which is a bit of a bummer. So they're shopping it around to other places, to other networks, so we'll see if something happens. So in the meantime, I've been writing a comic book series and recording music, and I've had this idea for a long time about this story that I really want to tell, and I spoke to an amazing writer about it, and I said I need someone to kind of write it with me or for me, because I've got all the ideas, but I'm like Dory out of Finding Nemo. I don't focus very long on anything. Exactly. Something bright and sparkly, and that's it. I'm done for. So this amazing guy called Andrew Mackenzie is actually writing a script for me right now, and I think it's going to be it's going to be really good. So I've got a Facebook page and my Twitter account, and you can find it through my website, which is gigiedgley.com. And I do all the updates there. I go to heaps of conventions because I love meeting all you guys, because you guys have been so awesome to support me and look after me through my whole adventure. So I adore actually meeting you guys and having some one-on-one time, and I love traveling as well. So yeah, so that's my baby that I'm working on at the moment. I'm still auditioning for stuff in LA, but that's my main passion, is to tell a really amazing story, because there's so many scripts and auditions that you go for that you sort of read the script and you go, people don't speak like this doesn't even make sense, or it's just, it doesn't make sense to my heart. So I thought, well, instead of waiting for the right script to come, then write it from scratch. So that's what's happening at the moment. Do you guys have any questions for me? Yes,
Do you have any final say on the script for the comic?
yes, absolutely, because it's all me. So I said, I actually spoke to a few different people in the industry about it, and I sort of had the choice whether to give the idea away to someone, but if I give the idea away, then I don't have creative control. So I made the decision to keep it close to my heart and soul, because it's a story that I feel is very, very precious, and I really want to tell it. I want to act it. I want to tell this story for you guys. So it's all absolutely in-house, and I work very closely with the guy writing it, and he's so funny. It's like, okay, tell me everything that you have. Empty the tank. I'm like, okay, you better brace yourself. I'm going to shut down your inbox. So I gave him music, I gave him comic book sketches, I gave him quotes, I gave him script ideas that I've done, like pages and pages and pages, and he's like, I'm still hungry. I'm like, all right. And so I went on and on for about 2 weeks. And so now I've got a few more little things that I'm trickling through, but he's starting to write it, so I can't wait. He was interested in working with me for an animated series as well. So he sent me through the script, and I read it on the plane, And I was laughing and crying and going, ah! Like, and I had my headphones on, realised that I was being a little bit too animated. And they were like, oh, sorry. So he's a beautiful rider, so I think you guys will really dig it.
What would you be doing today if you weren't doing what you're doing? What else would you be doing?
Walking my beautiful dog and hiking probably, maybe mountain unicycling because my husband's a mountain unicyclist. So we go all around, we live in Santa Monica in LA now, and we go on these big adventures with, you're late! We go on these big adventures with our beautiful dog MacGyver. My husband is obsessed with the show MacGyver.
What breed of dog?
Golden Retriever, 4 years old.
What career would you be doing? I mean, as far as work?
Maybe teaching kids. I love animals and I love kids because they keep you in the moment. And you don't think about worries, you don't think about paying the bills. You know, they're too busy like looking at the fairies and the things and the sky and the whatever and what life is really about. So I just adore anything that keeps me in the present moment. I really love hot yoga as well. I've thought about teaching it, but I don't know whether I could, I don't know whether my attention span could deal with it. I'd be like, downward dog, upward dog. People would be following along like this.
Martial arts sounds like more your thing.
Maybe.
Yeah, there you go.
No.
Can you give us a title?
Nope. But I do have
Can you give us a genre?
Yes, it's got a sci-fi feel to it, but it's a lot more HBO than Lifetime, and it's a little bit dark in a really great kind of way. It'll keep you guessing. So that's all I can say.
No kind of spoiler-free synopsis?
Oh, I've got, well, at the moment, at my table, I've got Blue Shift, which is a comic book that we've been writing as well in between my adventures over the last few years. And because we all, I work with a team that does everything for free, because we're all doing it for the love of it, sometimes when a project comes up for them or me, we have to put it on the back burner, so it's been a long time coming. But they just sent me through issue 1, and I was looking at it going, yes, this is fantastic. So it's all coming together. But I've got the ash can called Blue Shift, and that's at my table today. And I've also got 2 CDs that I wrote and recorded. One was in Seattle and one was in LA. Any other questions?
What was your favorite episode?
I loved Dirk Returns because it was my first ever episode, and I thought that that was the only one I was ever going to do. So I absolutely adored that because when I got the audition, I loved the Henson Company. And I loved playing characters that have no limitations. Like so often you play a doctor or a nurse or a cop or the girl next door, and this was like an alien in outer space. So love it.
I was along those same lines. I was talking to somebody the other day about Shiana, and she was the most alien character with the least amount of aesthetics.
Yes.
And how much of that body language and stuff was you, and how much of it was directed?
All me.
That's the answer I want.
Yeah, totally. Because I never knew how we were going to make her alien. I was thinking, I never knew that there was going to be all the makeup and everything. So when they started doing the first makeup test, it took like over 5 hours. And I was like, this is amazing. I can do anything I want with this character. So when I saw the final version of Gianna looking back at me, I was just like, well, I wanted to be always ready to run. And I wanted her to always be looking around the room to see who she could suck into her world and what she could get from people and how she could get the most out of a situation. Because she was a completely selfish character to start, which is awesome. You can dive into that really dark pool that we all have and be like, beat all that stuff up. So yeah, that's where the movements came from. And I just, like Anthony Simcoe, who plays Dargo, said, you can make her as, like, the stiller that you are is even better, because I'm quite all over the shop. So I sort of kept her very still and breathed people in, because contact lenses were like tunnel vision. It made me do that kind of movement even more because you couldn't see what was next to you. Yeah. Amazing. I would do it again in a heartbeat. Really, really cool. I just loved it. Absolutely loved it. As soon as they pick you up at like 4 in the morning, 3.5 hours later you're this creature and you stay within this creature for 14 hours, even longer. So every time I look back at myself, I was this alien looking back at me. It's really bizarre and very cool. Hello.
How did you know, when did you know you wanted to become an actress?
I never knew. I just know that I love telling stories and I never fit in anywhere else. I wasn't in the cool group, I wasn't in the nerdy group, I was just sort of this outsider, and so I found a really good place that I was comfortable with when I was pretending to be someone else, or I could draw on someone else's journey and shine through that. So I think that's where it all came from.
Have you done stage work in the past?
Yes, I love stage work.
How does that kind of training help you with being on screen or working TV or movies?
It's a very different energy because you have to feel where the audience is at and how they're responding to you, and it changes slightly every night, but you only get one take, which is great because it's very spontaneous. Whereas television, you get a few more takes, but then you've got to replicate exactly what you did the first time, so it matches up with the close-up shot, the mid shot, and the wide shot.
Did it feel weird with your stage background and then going to a different media?
Not really, because it's all about telling the story. So it doesn't, to me, it doesn't affect me whether it's in front of in a theatre or in front of a camera. It's all about what my objective is in the scene and telling that. You guys have got some good questions.
Which medium would you say is more challenging, theater or film?
Too different to compare. They're like apples and oranges. Love them both for very different reasons. Theatre I love because if you muck up, you've just got to go with it and figure out a plan as you go. Whereas film and television, if you muck up, you're like, oh, I want to go again. So you get a bit of a buffer zone there, but it's just a very different energy. Theatre almost feels more real because you've got to stay within the scene and tell the whole story, whereas film and television, it's very stop-start.
Do you have any more acting, any acting engagements coming up? Any movies coming up that
So,
you can say a little about?
I'm doing, there's 2 little projects that I'm focusing on. One is a steampunk short film, and one is a little sci-fi short film. And we're hopefully going to shoot them before the end of the year. Yeah, hopefully. So that'll be based in LA.
How much of a learning curve was it to learn to act with the puppets, the Muppets? Whereas you can see them moving here, but there's like 12 guys underneath.
They're amazing. They're just wonderful. I've grown up watching The Dark Crystal and The Labyrinth, and those creatures are so animated and so beautiful. Like you look into their eyes. I was telling you some of you before at the table. You look into their eyes and you see a person, a soul looking back at you. And Rigel and Pilot and all these. Like I would read the script and go, oh my gosh, what am I going to see on set? How are they going to bring this creature to life? And every single time it was amazing. Can I ask someone, does anyone have a tissue? Yes. Not a hanky. Tissue. Thank you. Sorry, I did a blow my nose. Thank you. Take this off the camera a bit. I haven't seen rain here. I haven't seen rain at all for like a year. So then this morning I got a bit excited. Thank you. Everybody look away. Great shoes. Can you open it? I'm like, I can fly a spaceship, but I can't open tissues.
Those are great shoes.
Thank you. I've had to re-heel them so many times because I think I stomp around far too much.
Have you ever thought about writing children's books, or since you know, that teachers in you, and you love the element of in the now.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Of course, because you got the fans. Look away, guys. This is charming. This is me with a cold. That's nice.
You might want to keep these
Thank
right here.
you. I appreciate it. I would love to write children's stories, but first things first is that I really want to focus on this script that I've got the idea for, and then just go with that first, because I think I'm a bit dark for children's. They might be like having nightmares.
There's some dark stories out there for kids.
Oh, a lot of nursery rhymes.
Yes.
After. Thank you for my free tissues.
You could write a children's book about dealing with nightmares.
Well, it's interesting because when I was a little girl, just yesterday, when I was a little girl, I used to sleepwalk a lot. And I used to have lots of crazy, crazy dreams. And even my sisters would not want to sleep in the same room as me because they would wake up and I'd be sitting at the end of the bed just like staring at them. They're like, get her away, Mum, get her away. And a few times, I used to live on a big property, a 250-acre farm. And a few times, Mum would come in and I wasn't there. And she'd have to drive around the property looking for me. And one time I'd gone over the cattle grid, down the hill, over the cattle grid, and I was walking down a dirt road, because it was like a kilometre of a dirt road before the main road. But the main road no one ever drove on because we were out in the sticks. And she goes, "Sheesh, what are you doing?" And I just looked at her with those weird sleepwalking eyes and I said, "Oh, I'm just looking for my mother." And she goes, "I'm your mother." And I looked at her and went, "No, you're not." And she's like, "Okay, get in the car. Be an alien girl." So maybe I've had that alien part of me in me for some time. But I definitely believe that there's other energies floating around, and I definitely believe in aliens, and I definitely believe in fairies. I'm all about that. I live half in the make-believe world and half in the real world, I think.
That sounds like a children's story in the future.
Perfect.
There you go.
Was it very difficult to maneuver around the set with the Muppets?
It's funny because you've got, like, Rigel had a person in his torso, to put it politely, and then a person working each arm. So anytime he's on his phone sled and he's scooting around, you've got three people trying to keep up with him as well. So a lot of those scenes were action scenes. So after a take, I'd be looking at Rigel and I'm like, "Hey, was that okay for you?" And they're like, "Oh, sorry. Guys, was that all right?" And they're like, "Yeah, except I stood on my leg or my arm." "Oh, sorry." But it was very cool. The puppeteers are amazing people to work with because they're very creative and they're very open-minded about coming up with new ideas, and I really want to put the best into the scene. And it's really great when you meet people like that, because it's awesome when you get to set, because you don't really have, you get on set and then you read the scene through once, like just what's off the script, then you rehearse it once, then you shoot it. That's as much time as you get with it. So when you have people that are willing to work and are open with your ideas, they just, it's so refreshing, because you all want to tell the best possible story, and sometimes if you're in a circumstance on set where you're working with other actors and everyone's a bit nervous, and you know how we all act when we're nervous, sometimes we say weird things or do weird things, and that's kind of like the whole, there can be quite often a nervous energy on set. So when you get people that are free and open and a bit silly and a bit willing to throw ideas into the centre and work with your ideas, it's really great. And so yeah, it's very funny when you're watching on the side of set. There'll be the people when they're animating the animatronics' faces, like they're working the controls, and they all actually mouth and like do the whole face movement as they're doing it, and it's very funny, because if you just looked at them from here up, they would look a little odd.
The first time you went to the creature shop, what puppet did you geek out the most about?
I've seen this puppet once, and he's my favourite, and it's Pepe, the king prawn. I love him because it's the hair, and he's just so little, And he's just got so many little man issues. And I just adore him so much. He's got that little accent, you know, the little, he's so cool.
How big actually is that puppet?
I've only seen them, so they did like a Dixie Chicks and the Muppets. Pepe was one of the Muppets, and I was there like, oh my gosh. And they're so little that they had a hard time pressing the button. So he had to use his whole torso kind of thing to slam his head down on the button. So the puppeteers obviously are quite intelligent. That's what I'm going to say. So they kept on screaming out the answers before, but they couldn't press the button. So then the Dixie Chicks heard the answers, they pressed the button, and then they'd say the answer. So the Dixie Chicks were moving ahead, even though the Muppets were giving away all the answers. So then they had to figure out a way to put the button underneath, and they just pretended that they were hitting the button with their little Muppet hands. It's quite cute. It's very cute. But I love Pepe. I love the Dark Crystal, the Skeksis. I love the beautiful, what's the old lady that has the astronomy, the old planets and everything. Olga? Is it Olga? Olga. Oh, yes, she's probably one of my favourites. I should know the names. I love the Dark Crystal, and the Labyrinth's a very close second favourite.
You think they were very inspiring to you for your career?
Yes, absolutely. Because as soon as I knew I got the role as Chiana, I wanted to make sure that I created a Henson character that was completely, unbelievably believable. Like, all of their characters are so complex and diverse and out of this world, but I wanted to create a creature that was on par with that.
Word is that there's a
Yes, well, I heard, on the Jim Henson Creature Shop Challenge, I spoke to Brian Henson, worked closely with him, and I adore him so much. And he said, guess what this is? And I was like, what? He goes, it's the Henson movie. And I went, oh my God. I mean, it's the Farscape movie. And I said, give it to me. And he's like, no, it's not finished yet. So I've seen like an envelope with something in it. I haven't seen, I don't know who's involved, on what level. And then I went home that night and I told my husband, and he goes, well, do you think Chiana's in it? I was like, babe, that would be really mean. He's like, it's a movie. Oh, sorry, Chiana's not in it. So, but I don't know, we'll see. Please let me be in it.
and everything, right? That he's got.
Huh?
Is that what you don't want to do? Thing?
Yes. Yep. So I know it's out there somewhere, but when and if and who's involved, I don't know.
There's a lot of room.
Yeah, keep them up. Keep writing to Henson and keep writing to sci-fi and get them to do it, because it would be so cool to have the family back together again.
What's your most memorable or funniest experience on set?
Well, there are kids here, so I'm not going to say one particular story.
Earmuffs.
It's quite long, they'll miss half the tour. I think that just any moment on that set was so phenomenal. I loved any time that I could do the flying scenes and the acrobatics and the physical scenes. I love, because you can't act when you're in there. You've just got to surrender to the moment and get into it. And I love all that stuff. I love the flips. I love the trapeze. I love fire twirling. I'm very active in that way. So any time that I can be hands-on doing those physical scenes, I absolutely adore. I have challenges with kissing scenes because it feels weird that you're doing this in a weird circumstance with a weird person on a weird planet with lots of prosthetics and tentacles. And sometimes it's better doing it with the tentacles because there's no person there, you know what I mean? So it's very bizarre doing that part of the thing, which was hard for me because Chiana was all about that. It was quite awkward. Meeting someone and going, oh hi, how you going? My name's Gigi. Yeah, we'll be making out later, and you three, and I guess that group over there. So that's the awkward part of it for me. That quietens you up. Everyone's like, oh my goodness.
Well, here we got
role you ever did?
Huh?
The first role was?
My first ever role I ever did was playing it was called Paradise Beach. Film and television. It was a series. It was called Paradise Beach, and I had to wear a bikini and I had to go, oh, did I win the competition? I think that was my only line. And it was like this girl that had won the competition with the main guy, but that was my only scene. So I was so nervous. And it was freezing cold, and you've got to be in a bikini in front of this whole set and stuff, and I was just a baby, and I was like, oh, did I win the competition? And they're like, okay, great, that's fantastic. I'm like, okay, and I walk off set, and they're like, where is she going? And I'm like, oh, I'm done. And they went, no, we need the mid shot and the wide shot and the this and that. I'm like, huh? Because no one ever taught me about the technical side of it all. Even in when I got trained in, I studied acting for 3 years and graduated with a Bachelor of Arts. And even when I trained with those guys at QUT, the only film and television stuff that we did two things. We did news reading, which was ridiculous because all your classmates are just mucking around with the teleprompter and making it go really fast and really slow and really fast. So you're there in front of the camera trying to be serious and read the news, and you're like, and then the other thing we did was a short film, but really, like they didn't, from what I can remember, it wasn't about hitting your mark and not overlapping people when you're talking and stuff, because we were all trained in as method acting. So it was very, method acting is imagining your heart and soul right there within the moment. You don't act, you be. So we were all so deep within our personal choices and our inner monologue that we didn't know where the camera was. The camera was kind of trying to find us. So when I went onto Farscape, and they were like, well, you hit that mark and don't overlap that person and make sure. I'm like, what? What do you mean? I just act. I just be. So it was pretty much throwing me into the deep end. And now I look back, I think those people must have been so patient with me. And the other actors, I don't know how they put up with me. And even when it was someone else's take, I would be there, if I had to be like shocked electrically, or if I had to be bawling my eyes out, or if I would do it on every single take, even when the camera wasn't looking at me. And I remember the guy that plays Dargo, Anthony Simcoe, walking on, and he goes, that's ridiculous. You're going to be exhausted, because what happens is usually you go kind of through the motions when the camera's not on you. You still obviously connect, and some actors have, just go more through the motions when the camera's not on them, so that they can save the really good juicy stuff up for when it turns around on them. So if it's a crying scene, to wait until the camera's focusing on you to really let it out. Because you can use up all your tears if you're doing it all day. It is very exhausting. But I don't know, I just it makes everyone's take a lot more real when you're into it the whole way through for me. So.
I guess just going on with the acting stuff, those parallel universe stories that you guys were doing, where you wound up playing each other's characters, just totally killed me. I thought, wow, that looked like fun as an actor.
It was a lot of fun, because it's another cool thing about Farscape is that you could, not only are you playing an alien, but you can also play an alien that's possessed by an energy rider, and you can also play an alien that plays Dargo or plays Pilot or plays. But a lot of the guys, when we did the body switching episode, goes, well, I want to play Gianna. I'm like, that do I? And they're like, pretty sure you do.
Do you still see any of them? Talk to them?
I see mostly the guys just at conventions, at other conventions that I do. And that's about it, because everyone's got families now, and everyone's got kids, or everyone's got a new project, so it's hard to catch up with people. Yeah, hopefully on the set of the Farscape movie would be good. Hint, hint.
Well, if we have any say about it.
Well, this is the cool thing, is that when Farscape finished, like I saw the sets ripped apart. I saw Moya literally be put into a dump truck, and it was devastating because it is your mother, it is your spaceship, it's your home that you've lived on for 5 years, and it's very rare in this industry to work on a show that's very long term. So you get connected with these people and these creatures inside out because you've experienced so many adventures with them through the uncharted territories. So I did a signing tour right after, and people were like, you know, I really think that it's going to come back and we'll bring it back. And I'm like, guys, I appreciate it, but it's not going to happen. I've seen Moya get ripped apart, and then sure enough, the Peacekeeper Wars happened. So it does. So that was the first. I always knew that the fans, their adoration and their love and their support was huge. But to bring a show back from the dead, that blew my mind. Blew my mind. So yeah, I definitely think it's worth putting in a little love letter to Sci-Fi. Bring it back!
It's too bad we can't do that more often.
I know.
How awkward was the Peacekeeper Wars with the relationship between you and Doug?
I didn't. The one thing that I couldn't stand, like I know Chiana was naughty, but I couldn't stand that they put her with Jotham. It killed me. It just killed me. I went, you're never going to be able to forgive her. Like, she's crazy and naughty, but please don't do this to her. And they did it. And the writer goes, look, we don't want G, we want Chi. I'm like, ah. So we went there, but it was devastating.
Were you offered a role on Stargate SG-1 when everybody made the merge?
No, I just sat there and stared at the phone for a year. Any moment they'll call. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Like, I turned on the television when I was in LA and I saw Ben, and I'm like, oh, there's Crichton. And then I was looking around, and I'm like, that's not Moya. What's going on there? So it was bizarre. It was an interesting transition. But a lot of people have come and told me about the 100th episode, and they think that that's pretty cool. Where Farscape morphed into that show as well. I should know the names. So what do you guys do for fun in Monroe?
This.
This is the highlight of the year.
Yes.
Good work. Oh, thanks. I'm so blessed to share it with you guys. Thank you so much.
There's a river.
Huh?
There's a river.
Oh, there's a river. Do you swim?
No, it's just down there. It's way too cold.
Oh, really? It's freezing?
I don't think
all
we
year
want to
round?
swim in this river.
Oh, really?
This is insane.
It's a bit dodgy.
There's a little information booth down the road that tells you how it was important in the Revolutionary War. I remember that from 3 years back. The yellow stardust fights the blue stardust on the map.
Very good.
Very cool.
Very good.
We do have a
We do a lot
theater
of fishing.
accent. I mean, different stuff. We got like the Chinese acrobats and.
I already told her all about
Yeah,
it.
I mean, they're trying. So.
You're too early for the Custer week, you're too late for the Liberation event in Monroe.
So have you got, like, anyone been to Australia?
Yes.
We've got 1, 2. Yay! And you survived all those dangerous creatures. I always say the most dangerous thing about Australia is the women. Boys, you should totally go.
I have a question. What is Vegemite?
Vegemite is delicious. It tastes like salty.
Chocolate peanut butter.
Yeah, not even, like, just salty. And my husband hates it. He likes, what is it, Nutella and Marmite and all that stuff. And I'm like, no, I can't. He's from Minnesota, so he wakes up, I wake up in the morning and he's chewing on candy. I'm like, where did you get that from? He's like, a stash. Got a stash by the bed. Which is why he doesn't have any teeth left, because he's grown up on candy and pop the whole time. Like, I had to force him to eat vegetables. This is the kind of diet that my beautiful man has, and I'd sneak like tomatoes and any kind of vegetable in his food. He's like, what's that? I'm like, that is food. It's not candy.
Well, in Minnesota, it's pretty much cheese and meat. That's
White
all there is
Castle.
to it.
Yes.
White Castle, and he like loves in Taco Bell. You can get the chili cheese burritos. You can't get them in Taco Bell anywhere else. So that's the first thing when we get to Minnesota. We have to go to a Taco Bell.
Where are you
It's
from?
very romantic.
Where are you from originally?
Western Australia, in Perth. Yeah. And then I moved there. It's actually meant to be the most isolated town in the world, and it's really, really pretty, but it's like a mining town. It's quite expensive. It has beautiful beaches, and the coast is very pretty. But if you ever go to Australia, the East Coast is awesome. Sydney's my favourite, and it has beautiful harbours, and you can catch a ferry to almost anywhere. Stunning beaches. Everyone's very laid back, very down to earth. And beautiful, beautiful weather. And we like to go back at Christmas time because it's hot. So it's funny, every Christmas we're in bikinis playing cricket on the beach. And then I went to a Minnesota Christmas a couple of years ago. It was the first Christmas it didn't snow. Oh. I was like, finally I'm going to get a white Christmas. And then all of Jamie's family are like, oh, you bought the good weather. I'm like, no, I don't want good weather, I want snow. It wasn't that good, it was still freezing.
What island is it with the fairy penguins?
Pardon me?
The fairy penguins over there, what island is that?
Whereabouts is that?
It's on the East Coast somewhere.
Oh, I'm not too sure. I have to get my Google brain out.
You'll have to go there. Next time you're home, you have to go see the fairy penguins.
Did you go there?
She went.
Oh, where?
She was 12 years old and she did the whole East Coast.
Oh, was it amazing?
It was wonderful. I want to go back.
Swam in the Great Barrier Reef?
Yes. Well, my sister lives on an island in the Great Barrier Reef, and it's absolutely stunning. But now there are stingers, like that. You get these little stingers, and they're as big as your pinky fingernail, and they can totally end it for you. So they used to like survive for a few months, and the only thing that destroys the stingers are the turtles. But now there's more tourists. The turtles on their jet skis are killing
the turtles.
The turtles. Did I just say turtles on their jet skis? Oh my god, that would be cool.
It's a new movie.
That's right. You go to book your ticket, and they're like, I want to see the turtles on the jet skis.
Some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles action right there.
Are they? And you're on jet skis?
Maybe.
There's this whole new story plot
When
there.
Michael Bay does the sequel, I'm sure they'll be there now.
Oh my god. But yeah, the tourists on the jet skis are now running over the turtles and cracking their shells, and then they end up dying. So the stinger season's getting longer and longer. So I love my sister's island, but the hottest time is when the stingers are there. So it's kind of like being in hell because you're in paradise, but you're so hot, and you've got crystal clear ocean surrounding, and all you want to do is dive in there, but you're like, not too sure how that's going to end up. But you wear these stinger suits and you look ridiculous with your head poking out and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, this is not a way to enjoy a swim. It's like an all-over wetsuit kind of thing.
Do you have any new projects you're working on?
So I was just telling these guys that I'm writing a feature film, or I've given all my beautiful, I pitched this idea to a writer in Australia, and he's like, I love the idea, give me everything you've got, because I'm very good at coming up with ideas, but I lose focus very easily. So he's actually writing this film for me right now, and I'm pretty excited by it. We'd like to take it to the festivals, and it's a really beautiful story that I think you guys will all get into. And I also write comic books and record music. And my husband and I are now living in LA, so we've been doing auditions with the big wigs as well. So manifesting magic, please, universe. God's in Buddha.
Very good. Enjoy. Thank you for coming in and out.
Thanks for having me. It's been awesome. My husband was a mechanical engineer, and he lived in Minnesota, worked for Medtronics. I think so. It's like a medical company, and worked in a cubicle under fluorescent lights behind a computer, and went, this sucks. This is not what I thought my life would be. And he has always loved unicycling. He is right now competing in mountain unicycling in Australia. Just random. The Americans in Australia and the Australians in America, I don't know what's going on there. This is what happens when you get married. You never see the other half. Right. Well, I never do. I'm like, what, is that what happens? Okay, bye. See you next year. So he's competing right now, riding around a mountain on one wheel. But for his graduating piece, he built a 12-foot unicycle, and he used to go in like live parades and stuff like that, and juggle and do magic tricks. So he went to Los Angeles, down to Venice Beach, and he saw a street performer, and he watched. He's a Virgo, so he watches everything, takes everything in, analyzes everything. And he saw how much the performer made, and he made like, you know, $100, $200 for a 20-minute show, cash. And he goes, "I'm going to do that." So he started out trying to do a show, and it was an absolute disaster because he's quite shy. And after the show, it was like one person watching like this, and he's like, "All right, well, I tried that, back to being a mechanical engineer." And this old lady walked up to him and gave him a $20 bill and said, if she wasn't there, he would have been like, "This is not happening." So now he travels all around the world. In between actually shows and stuff, we street performed together for about like almost a year and a half, 2 years. I finished Farscape. I'd done a lot of work in Australia, and then there were offers for shows that I wasn't really passionate about. So I thought, I'll go to America and see how I go there. So then I moved to LA and randomly bumped into Jamie and was doing a couple of projects, a couple of interesting sci-fi features that I did. And then I wrote and co-directed my own little short film for festivals. It's called Nobody Knows. You can check it out online if you're into it. And I spent all my money, maxed out all my credit cards because I'm a anal freak. I just like everything has to be perfect and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, oh, I'll spend more money there, credit card. And I turned to Jamie, who was my boyfriend at the time, and I went, I've run out of money. More than I'm in a huge amount of debt, and I've got to go back to Australia because I'm pretty sure I can work there. And he said, why would you go back when the whole reason why you moved here was to tell amazing stories and be passionate about what you do? And I said, I can't eat. I can't afford to eat. And he said, well, why don't you street perform, work with me? I was like, I'm not street performing. I am an actress. So the next day, I was there on my roller skates with my fire sticks, very unhappy street performing. And we actually ended up making a really cool show together. And then we involved music and microphones and got the mics and the music you can control and everything, and it was really quite tight. And then, and the best part about the story is that we lived in a cupboard for like 2 years because the glamorous life of an actress. So he lived in a big house down at Huntington Beach with a lot of other kids from Minnesota. And I lived in the Hollywood Hills, and I said, well, you know, I can't pay rent, I can't afford that. He goes, well, move in with me. So we literally lived in the cupboard of a big house. It was a walk-in cupboard, still a cupboard, with an annex roof. You couldn't stand up, barely stand up in it. So we had a little desk and a bed, and that was it. So, but it used to be the nicest place in the whole house to hang out because we're very clean. We've got a Virgo and a Scorpion, and we're very ordered, and lots of cool posters everywhere. So we get like all the roommates hanging out in the cupboard. We're like, dude, there's a whole house. Like, we have to congregate in the smallest room possible. Anyway, so we street performed together for a couple of years, and then I put my audition down for Rescue Special Ops, which was an Australian show, and it was a really good script, and it was with Channel 9, people that I love working with. So I emailed the audition through from LA, and they said later on when I took Jamie to Australia for Christmas because he'd never been there before, and my agent said, oh, can you stick around because we really think they want to see you in the room for Rescue. And I was like, what show's that? Because you do so many auditions, after a while they become a blur. And they said, oh, it's that show with blah, blah, blah. I'm like, done. So I went in the room, got the job. I said to Jamie, I really like you. Finally got a job after however many years street performing and having no money. But I'm totally going to give it up if you don't move to Australia with me. And he's like, let's do it. So then we moved to Australia. Now he loves Australia, quite clearly he's there and I'm here. When we moved to America, he's like, I want to stay in Australia. I was like, you're the American? Come on.
You get bored of America.
Yeah, apparently. And then the coolest thing was Rescue Special Ops. The very first scene that I did was in Centre Point, which is the tallest building in the whole city. And the character that I was playing has to save this adrenaline junkie who's about to jump off the side of it because he wants to base jump as you do. And we get in a bit of a fight, and I end up going over the side and hanging off the side. So that was my first scene after literally being unemployed for 2 years, working on the streets, you know, trying to just scrape by, and it was huge. Like, I'm like, where are the cameras? And the director's like, oh, they're coming. I'm like, what do you mean they're coming? Because the lift takes half an hour to, you know, for you to travel you up there. And then a helicopter came, and the guy's hanging out of the helicopter with the camera, and he's like circling around the building. I'm like, yes, back in business. So that's the life of an actress. For me, it's very up, down, and I just love you guys so much because the whole way you've supported me through the up bits and through the searching bits as well. It's very important. Very cool. That was a long-winded answer. I can't even remember what the question was. It was a good answer. Oh, good, good.
You said you were a Scorpio. When's your birthday?
November the 16th.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm actually going to be in Allentown. Does anyone know where that is?
Pennsylvania.
There you go. Is it a nice place? Has anyone been there? Cool. Yeah, perfect. I'll jam out to that on my birthday then. That's great. So where's your favourite place that you've ever been to in the world?
My bed.
Oh, too much information.
That's where I can sleep.
Wow, you guys are really action-packed here.
Savannah, Georgia.
What's good about Savannah, Georgia?
Oh, God, it's such a haunt town.
Really?
There's a lot of dark history, murder, crime, and the military history is great too.
Yeah.
They have forts there. If you've ever seen the movie Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, which came from a book, took place in that town.
Oh, really?
They film a lot of movies there. They did parts of Forrest Gump. But they did a tour of the house because Johnny Mercer used to live there, and a lot of the houses are Mercer houses. And the place where they filmed the movie and the crime took place, to get a tour, and I'm standing in the room. I went on the tour, like, this is where the body was. This is so cool.
Oh my gosh, you're dark.
I'll keep that. But the Juliet Lord and Go, or Gordon Lowe, the creator of the Girl Scouts, I went to the tour of that. It's a great, just beautiful. Paul Dean's restaurant's there. It's a lot of, it's a tourist attraction. It's a lot going on in a small route. It is just gorgeous.
That's cool.
They have great, pub crawls and haunt crawls and a lot of, it's supposed to be one of the most haunted cities, top 10, according to Travel
I think I might have seen a few ghosts in my room last night because there's a few spirits hanging out here, aren't there? Didn't this used to be a... Yes. Yeah. Do you think so? I think so.
My old house has a couple.
Yes, I think so.
Have a good stay.
Thank you, babe. Have a good day.
If you get the chance, you should go to San Francisco.
I love San Francisco. And the seals.
Yes.
But I've never been to the jail. I really want to go to the jail.
Okay, that I haven't managed.
Have you been there? I bet you there's a few spirits hanging out there too.
I'm sure there are.
Wow.
But yeah, the seals, I like to go if you can get in early enough and just have like breakfast with the seals.
Yeah, it's so cool. They all hang out, they're so cheeky. Yeah. My hubby, he took me there, we went there for a WonderCon because WonderCon used to be there. But before that, I kept going on and on about one of the prettiest drives I've ever done is in Australia, and it's a drive from Sydney to Queensland. And it's called the Coast Road. So we finally did it. He goes, so where's the coast? I said, oh, well, you go like that, but then you've got to go like that to the beach. And he goes, this isn't the coast road. I'll show you the coast road. And then we did the LA to San Francisco. I'm like, that's the coast road.
And
So
if you want to go a little farther up to Santa Rosa, there's the Charles Schultz Museum. He did Peanuts.
Yes, yes.
You've got to go there. I love it.
Is it the castle?
No, it's like he's got reproduction of his office.
Oh,
And
really?
there's all like these comic strips on the wall, and it's just
Where is that?
in Santa Rosa. It's past San Francisco, but they've got the kite-eating tree there and everything from Peanuts. It's just amazing.
Cool. I've been to the castle that's halfway along the way. Is it the Hearst?
I would go there. I would like to.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, and it's huge. I'm like, why? I could do with one of these castles. Just please.
Cool ever.
Yes. It's very cool. So where else? Where's your favourite place in the world? I'm pointing at you, Jacket Man. And then I want to hear about you, lady behind the stalker behind.
I traveled over to Riga, Latvia, Estonia, Ireland.
What's that like? Estonia, that must be pretty mysterious.
Aussies in Riga.
Really?
Oh yeah.
What are they doing?
Escaping Australia as far as I know.
Maybe I should put that on my travel plan.
It's actually odd. I think when the Soviet Union was collapsing, me being a history guy, I think there was a lot of like British like expats and Australian expats that jumped in on it and started buying up and doing businesses. But there's a lot of Aussies and British around that area.
The convicts have escaped.
Yeah. Well, but I also did St. Petersburg, but it's all interesting. I have a lot of friends around in that area, which is basically the Baltics.
Did you know this lady sitting behind you?
I don't know.
Well, you do now. The other side.
Oh.
You've got to look the other way.
If you turn the other way, you're fine.
You're right. Oh, really?
Where's your favourite place in the world?
My favorite place would be our place up north. Way up there. It's about 6 hours away.
Yeah.
But it's on a lake and it's really isolated.
What's it called?
We just call it cottage.
Nice.
But my grandpa built it in the 80s, like I'm going up there to the big.
How beautiful. Yeah, my mum lives in New Zealand. My family, I've got, Dad had 8 kids all up with 3 different wives. So we're spread out over the whole world. And it's so rare that we actually all get to hang out and chill with each other. So hopefully this Christmas we're all going to meet, or a lot of us are going to meet in Hawaii because my sister's actually house sitting there. So I'm like, awesome. And that's where my husband and I got married. So we might finally have our honeymoon, which will be infested with family, apparently. So romantic.
You know you're in Michigan when people use their hand to tell you where they like to go. Yeah, because we're here right now. She wants to go way up here.
Oh, wow. And what happens if you do that? Sci-fi people.
Yeah,
Then our state got broken up right here.
Yeah, right. Magically enough.
We're on the wrong planet.
Yeah.
So,
I always think I'm on the wrong planet. I think I
that
should
would be an
record
awesome.
somewhere.
That would be an awesome state.
So Minnesota, have you ever been to Bluebird?
I've been to the Mall of America. I've been to Cross Lake. I've been to Blaine, Andover, Ramsey.
Okay, you may not be familiar with the Jolly Green Giant.
I feel like I know that man.
Okay, they have a life-size representation of him in Bluebird.
Oh, really? Are you for real?
Yeah,
Is it worth a look?
60, 70 feet tall.
Is it a good photo op?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Worth checking out. Yeah, well that sounds interesting. I'd be up for that. Yeah, I love Minnesota. It's so beautiful, but I've never been there in the hardcore snow time. I would love to go there.
Well, be careful what you ask for.
Because I might get trapped. You guys get a lot of snow here too, don't you?
Last year was awful, and they said it's going to be worse. It was like 20 days trapped inside the house before I got out.
Really?
Yeah, and then I called down the steps.
Cabin fever?
Huh? I called down the steps on the 21st day and said, "You are taking me somewhere now."
Just get out of your bubble.
Well, we did negative 50-degree wind chill.
What's that?
Negative 50-degree wind chill.
Are you kidding me?
No. Yeah.
Oh, lucky I'm leaving tonight.
We see quarter wind chills in Alaska and South Pole. There was one day we were colder than the surface of Mars.
What? You're just making stuff up.
No.
Oh, my goodness, that's crazy.
We had to get asked why we're here.
Yeah.
No.
None of us just we're trapped in the bubble.
That is a bad four-letter word around here.
Wowzers. Well,
It's
that's,
not colder than St. Peter.
so far, all I've seen is the hotel next door, which I love. I went to Applebee's last night for dinner. Love. Great chicken nuggety things. And you guys, which I love even more. So
Well, if you go a couple blocks over, there is a statue of a bear, teddy bear,
really?
brown bear. My neighbor wrote the books, Little Brown Bear books, and they put up the statue of her.
Are you for real?
Yeah, she was 100 when she passed away, but they translated the book into different languages for a while, and yeah.
That's so awesome.
She was like a little celebrity.
I might see if I can sneak over there and get a photo with the bear.
It's cute.
You're like, not that bear, that's a real one.
We got those too.
Do you really?
In Michigan, oh yes, we have bears.
Not around the south.
But they
More
up here.
Yeah, it's more up
Okay, you gotta hit the middle region before you start finding bears.
We got wolves, but I don't know how long that lasts. They want
Thank you for sharing your stories.
Thank you, beautiful boys. See you later.
Say Troy years ago.
Puma?
Greenfield Village and the Henry Ward,
I
which
wish
is
I had some more time so they can't get
yeah, down like a half mile from half mile or a mile from my house. We've got Edison National Park, the Webster House. You know where Daniel Webster lived.
It's good when you fly into these places and those are more times and you can actually Well guys, I absolutely adore you and thank you for being so amazing. I'm here all day, obviously just at my table, so come and say hi and chillax with me. Unless there's any other questions that you want to ask.
You said that you were interested in the berries in the overworld?
Yes, definitely.
If you have time, head over to Ann Arbor. They have a ferry tour around.
I would love to, but I'm with you guys until 5 and then they're shoving me on a plane out of here.
I have a ferry door at my house.
All right, let's go. Everyone in the car. Love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming here.